I'd like to offer some points on COVID-19, which I hope will add a fresh perspective on our situation and also hopefully inspire a lot of people to stay here and to not get sick. For those of you who've heard me speak on the respiratory system in the past, some of this may be repeat information, but the respiratory system is where we connect our experience of ourself as universal with our experience of ourself as personal. Because the air, which represents, the air is like the soul of all beings. It's that part of our world that we share in common. It's the structure which unifies all life on Earth. Even plants breathe. So it starts out as universal. It comes into our personal physiology as very personal, very intimate, and it nourishes and supports us, and then it acts as a purifying influence to carry impurities out of the system, and they go back to the universal again. And right in the bronchial tube area, the air spins like this. When it's going in, it spins this way, and when it's going out, it spins that way. And that spinning motion is a metaphor for the way consciousness folds in. Consciousness folds in or spins in on its own nature in order to create the creation. The alveoli, which are under the most pressure in the light of the current virus pandemic, are the parts of the lung which most deeply represent individuality. The alveoli are these little pockets that the air goes into. They're like little balloons, and they go when you breathe in, they go when you breathe out. They're really small though. And evidently being on ventilators for a long period of time isn't too good for them. They can break. I've just recently been reading about the details of ventilators. Also, they are the parts of the lungs that get filled up with blood and other materials which detract from the breathing capacity of the lungs with the virus. So the alveoli are that spot in ourself where the air which belongs to the whole creation has come in and become very much associated with individuality. And we could use the word small self or small individuality. And really, I would say the whole respiratory system is the function of the respiratory system is a process of massaging the junction between sense of self as an individual and sense of self as universal. And if we think of the word ego as meaning sense of self, then the act of breathing integrates small individual ego with universal ego. And this is beautiful. This is the sacred status of the act of breathing. So even if a person isn't very spiritual, or they're an atheist, or they don't care about anything, if they breathe, the act of breathing over the long course of a lifetime has the effect of integrating and bringing their individual sense of self closer to universal sense of self. The presence of a deadly pandemic is an opportunity. That universal sense of self will take a read on the lifetime and look at the layers of choices and decisions that a person has made through the course of their life. And as we know, this particular epidemic is much more dangerous for older people than it is for younger. So people in the older time of life whose lifestyle choices or decisions have led them into a situation where they're dealing with chronic illness, or have led them into a situation where the evolutionary step forward is hampered by limitations of the physiology will sometimes, the universal self will look upon a situation such as a deadly pandemic as an opportunity to reset and renew the quality of the vehicle for the soul. That means dying. That means the pandemic acts like a side door, an exit, a side exit. They could go on in this, individual could go on in this lifetime for some time longer, year after year, working with their chronic illness. Or I understand in some cases, people who don't even have chronic illnesses are contracting and dying of this disease. But it allows every individual to look at to weigh the value of staying here in the human existence and what options and possibilities are open for them in terms of their evolution versus the evolutionary effect of leaving the human lifetime. And that's not a decision that's easily left up to individual self. That is a decision which must be made in the junction between individuality and universality. That is a decision that's in the hands of higher levels of one's own personal power. And is it no surprise at all that the virus actually affects the very part of the body which is directly involved with the connection between individual sense of self and universal sense of self? So that was the idea that I wanted to offer to everyone. Of course, it's my heartfelt desire that everyone can stay as close to their human life as possible, because it's my experience that the potential for evolutionary growth in the human physiology and in the human form is infinite. And that gaining a perspective on one's infinite potential is the key to holding a quality of hope for the future that will support the strength of the immune system and the ability to come through the illness gracefully and successfully without any long-term damage. This is my wish and my hope for everyone. So let's just take a moment then, and we'll have a little healing moment to connect in to full potential, everyone's pure potential or full potential. Awareness is in the middle of the chest area, which is the part of the body where our deepest, most essential wisdom resides, our ability to understand ourselves at the most fundamental level. And I'm just feeling an activation of deep self-appreciation and love and gratitude and forgiveness rising from the chest area. Now, settling awareness down to a deeper, quieter, more abstract level of oneself. That junction point between manifest expression of oneself and unmanifest source of creation. And in that junction, there's a little wave. And the little wave is like a little activation of the pure spark of the value of life, the pure spark of the deepest meaning of life, we could say, or your pure potential. And as our awareness as a collective goes into that junction, that gap between the unmanifest and the manifest, it starts to wake up and enliven the awareness, the qualities of your pure potential. This awakening or enlivening, then stabilizes in the cord of light, that central energy field of the body, right in the center of the body, from the crown of the head all the way down through the body, all the way down to past the feet. And this cord of light is our anchor to life. It's our anchor to life. And it's also the channel by which imbalances and impurities are eliminated from our physiologies. And it also is our anchor to our infinite potential, our cosmic potential, particularly out the crown of the head. So as the experience of that spark of your pure potential, that energy that you came into this life with, the reason you came here in the first place, to be an instrument for the evolutionary trajectory of the whole universe, the source of creation, it experiences expansion through the human condition. If we think of the Creator, we think of an aspect of our reality which is all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-present, which means the Creator has nothing new to look forward to, except that through the expression of human life, it does. Because the future is being worked out now in the present. And it's worked out through the coordination between human intention and cosmic intention, between the decisions and choices that we make at every moment and the universal intelligence which administrates the entire creation, that is in charge of keeping everything in order and everything on its evolutionary path. So there's a constant back and forth flow between our individual human experience and the experience of the entire creation as a wholeness. And this back and forth flow is represented in the respiratory system. So to keep the respiratory system open and clear and free of obstruction, the sense of connection between individuality and universality needs to stay lively. And it is at its most lively in that junction between the unmanifest source of creation, field ocean, great ocean of consciousness, which is the foundation for all that exists, and the entire manifest field of creation. And in that junction, what we find is the energetic signature, the energy signature of your pure potential. So treasure that pure potential. Offer it like flower petals back to the feet of the divine, where it can expand to infinity, because the divine source of creation is infinite, right? So whatever we offer there has this opportunity to expand to infinity. It expands to infinity. It is made more potent, and it comes back to us better defined. It's precious. So enjoy that. I hope you are really loving your inward time in an isolated state where you can come to appreciate aspects of yourself that you may not have even been aware of previously. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to offer this video. Thank you for being with me.